Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jirada Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Yukadharma Harinama Sankirtana Yajna ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, Hare Krishna. I'm not sure if my audio is okay. If it is okay, please drop me a chat message so that I can get some feedback on that.
Audio is fine.
Okay, thank you. So let me share my screen. We'll read the verse. Okay, so we are supposed to read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, Text 80 and 81 today. So text 80. Maitreya Uvacha Bhagavat Mukhyo Bhagavan Narado Hamsayorgatim Pradarshaya hi amantraya siddhalokam tato agamat. What word meaning? Maitreya Uvacha. Maitreya said, Bhagavata of the devotees, Mukhya, the chief. Give me a second. Yeah. Bhagavan, the most powerful, Narada Muni, Hamsayo, of the living entities and the Lord, Gatim, constitutional position, Pradarshaya, having shown, he, certainly, Amum, him, the king, Amantraya, after inviting Siddhalokam to Siddhaloka, Tatha, thereafter, Agamat, departed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, the supreme devotee, the great saint Narada, thus explained to King Prachini Barhi the constitutional position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities. After giving an invitation to the king, Narada Muni left to return to Siddhaloka. I'll read it again. The great sage Maitreya continued, the supreme devotee, the great saint Narada, thus explained to King Prachini Barhi the constitutional position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity. After giving an invitation to the king, Narada Muni left to return to Siddhaloka. Purport. Siddhaloka and Brahmaloka are both within the same planetary system. Brahmaloka is understood to be the highest planet within this universe. Siddhaloka is considered to be one of the satellites of Brahmaloka. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka have all the powers of yogic mysticism. From this verse, it appears that the great sage Narada is an inhabitant of Siddhaloka, although he travels to all planetary systems. All the residents of Siddhaloka are spacemen, and they can travel in space without mechanical help. The residents of Siddhaloka can go from one planet to another individually by virtue of their yogic perfection. After giving instructions to the great king Prachini Barhi, Narada Muni departed and also invited him to Siddhaloka. We read the next one also, text 81. Prachini Barhi Raja Rishi Praja Sarga Abhirakshani Adishya Putran Agamat Tapase Kapilashramam. What word meaning? Prachini Barhi, the king Prachini Barhi, Rajarishi, the saintly king, Praja Sarga, the mass of citizens, Abhirakshane, to protect, Adishya, after ordaining, Putran, his sons, Agamat, departed, Tapase, for undergoing austerities, Kapila Ashrama, to the holy place known as Kapilashrama. Translation. In the presence of his ministers, the saintly king Prachini Barhi left orders to his sons to protect the citizens. He then left home and went off to undergo austerities in the holy place known as Kapilashrama. Purport. The word Praja Sarga is very important in this verse. When the saintly king Prachini Barhi was induced by the great sage Narada to leave home and take the devotional service of the Lord, his sons had not yet returned from their austerities in the water. However, He did not wait for their return but simply left message to the effect that his sons were to protect the mass of citizens. According to Bida Raghavacharya, such protection means organizing the citizens into the specific division of the four varnas and four ashramas. It was the responsibility of the royal order to see that the citizens were following the regulative principles of the four varnas, namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the ashramas, namely Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. It is very difficult to rule citizens in a kingdom without organizing this Varnashrama Dharma. To rule the mass of citizens in a state and keep them in a complete progressive order is not possible simply by passing laws every year legi- in a legislative assembly. The Varnashrama Dharma is essential in a good government. One class of men, the Brahmanas, must be intelligent and Brahmanically qualified. Another class must be trained in administrative work, Kshatriyas, another in the mercantile business, Vaishya, and another simply in labor, Shudra. These four classes of men are already there according to nature, but it is the government's duty to see that all the four of these classes follow the principles of their varnas methodically. This is called abhirakshana or protection. It is significant that when Maharaj Prachini was convinced of the goal of life through the instruction of Narada Muni, he did not wait even a moment to see his son's return, but left immediately. There were many things to be done upon the return of the sons, but he simply left them a message. He knew that what his prime time was. He simply left instructions for his sons and went off for the purpose of spiritual advancement. This is the system of Vedic civilization. Sridhara Swami informs us that Kapilashrama is located on the confluence of Ganges and the Bay of Bengal, a place known as Ganga Sagara. This place is still famous as a place of pilgrimage, and many millions of people gather there every year on the day of Makara Sankranti and take bath. It is said it is called Kapilashrama because Lord Kapila is living there to perform his austerities and penances. Lord Kapila propounded the Sankhya system of philosophy. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सह गणललितान् श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावन ईश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, welcoming all devotees for the online Sunday program. So, it's not a Sunday feast. Feast, you'll have to make it at your own home, offering it to the Lord. But it's just a Sunday Bhagavatam class program where we can get together and discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So, today we are almost there at the end of the um, long almost like 4 chapters, if I'm right, yeah, of Prachini Barhi's story, how Prachini Barhi instructed his sons to go and do tapasya before they actually do the progeny. And their sons, 10 sons, Prachitas, they met Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva instructed them about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And after that, Narada Muni comes and meets Prachini Barhi and gives a series of instruction about how a spirit soul, we all of us, right? Every time when we read the story of Puranjana, we should understand that we are in that position. That's very important because Bhagavatam is there for us to put ourselves in that place and see how we are rotting in this material world, how we have been we gave permission to Maya to steal our time, right? Time is something very valuable. We all know once lost cannot be obtained again. And in the same way, this time in this human form of life is said to be even more valuable. And somehow, because we are not very strong, Maya actually is taking over us. We are letting Maya to take over us out of our own ignorance. And traveling in this world here and there, enjoying the fruits and bitterness of this material world and suffering in so many ways, like how Puranjana had some enjoyment and suffering in various different ways. So, almost for 3 chapters, 4 chapters, Narada Muni explained about the uh, story of Puranjana, and he gave the uh, final conclusion for it, and made King Prachini Varhi understand about the constitutional position of Jiva, the spirit soul, and the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord, and made it very clear to King Prachini Varhi that there is no other shelter apart from devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So, having heard from Narada Muni, who is a greatest Vaishnava, wherever Narada Muni goes, he does preaching and he makes devotee. That's the sign of Vaishnava. When Prabhupada actually says in the purports of Bhagavatam, saying that a person is said to be a Vaishnava, great Vaishnava, depends on how many people he is actually making them to surrender to Krishna, right? So that's a sign saying that a person is how great a Vaishnava is, how convinced he is, because unless a person is convinced, he will not be able to go and convince others, right? First, we have to get convinced, right? So if we are not convinced, it's something like a smoker who is having a cigarette in his left hand and he is asking another person to actually stop smoking, right? So it is almost like that. But a person who is convinced of this reality and he puts things in practice and he leads a life as an example, then he will be able to showcase to the whole world about the glories of devotional service in his personal practice. So, preacher, that's why it means that a preacher has to be good in his practice also. He should be practicing what he is saying. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was glorifying Haridas Thakur, saying that there are so many people who actually preach, but hardly very few of them are setting a good example for the whole world to follow, right? He's not just doing prachara, but he's doing achara also. So when achara is very solid, then prachara will have its effect naturally. There is no need to put any extra effort, right? So as soon as the achara is strong, that Krishna will make sure that his words will influence the heart of other devotee, or Krishna will make use of the preacher nicely as a nice instrument, and infuse Krishna consciousness into the heart of dull-headed mind of material people, and they will also be able to take up Krishna consciousness seriously. So in this way, for a preacher, it is very important. Just like Narada Muni, uh, we should also do our achara, our practice of Krishna consciousness so nicely that Krishna will use us. Krishna will use us as an instrument and engage us in his service in spreading this Krishna consciousness movement for many, many people, right? So that's our wish and prayer, that let Krishna use me. That's how Prabhupada also prayed in the Markine Bhagavad Dharma, saying that you make make me dance as you like. So we want Krishna to actually take charge of our life and use us as he wants. That's the prayer of the great acharyas. You engage me, you make me dance, right? So that's how they call for the Lord to engage themselves in the service, right? So in this verse, we could see that the king Prachini Barhi, so after hearing the whole incident of Puranjana story and correlating that to his own life, he understood, saying how much time he had wasted, right? Because human form of life, we all have heard several times saying that it is very, very valuable. It is so important that one cannot actually afford to lose this human form of life, because this is the only opportunity, so to say, in human body to actually make our life perfect, to become Krishna conscious, to become a devotee. Because if we don't do it in this life, no, not in which body, who will enter, where, in what situation, and what kind of facilities will be given, what will happen to them, nobody can actually say that, nobody can predict that, right? But if somebody actually takes up Krishna consciousness, and if somebody practices, even if they actually leave it the halfway, Krishna guarantees, saying that at least they will actually get a human form of life in their next life, right? But that's also still up to Krishna. If Krishna feels that uh, something, a devotee can actually be more Krishna conscious, then he may actually even put the devotee in a lower species of life also. For example, even the case of King Bharata. King Bharata, though he left the kingdom to practice Krishna consciousness, he got attracted to a deer, and he took a body of a deer, right? So it is that's a Krishna actually felt, saying that King Bharat will become more serious if he gets the body of a deer first. Then he will actually be able to practice Krishna consciousness in his next life in a much more intense way, right? So that's up to Krishna finally. But anyway, from our side, we have to make an effort to practice Krishna consciousness and facilitate or help ourselves to become Krishna conscious in this life. That's the most important thing. What is next life? That is up to Krishna, right? It is Krishna will actually manage that. Right? So it's up to him. Whatever he feels is the best for us, he actually gives us. And Krishna knows what is best for us. Nobody else know. Even we don't know what is best for us, but Krishna knows what is best for us. We may, out of our own foolishness, think that something is actually very good for us, and we make our calculations. But Krishna knows what is really best for us, and he actually makes his plans. And it is always Krishna's plan which wins, not our plans. Right? Sometimes it so happens that our plans and Krishna's plans coincide, and it may appear as if like we have won, but it is actually Krishna's plan has won. Right? When a devotee advances in Krishna consciousness, then they actually understand, saying that whatever has happened is actually because simply by the mercy of the Lord, by the will of the Lord. Just Just so if it so happens that my wish and Krishna's wish, fortunately, if it aligns, it may actually apparently appear that my wish has come true, but it is actually Krishna's which has come true. So when we started understanding this, then we will start appreciating that everything that is happening in my life is simply because of the mercy of the Lord, whether good or bad. It happens because of the mercy of the Lord. Even if something bad happens, a devotee actually understands, saying that it is Krishna's arrangement. If Krishna actually wants this to happen, and if Krishna thinks saying that this is what is good for me, let it so happen. That's how a devotee thinks. Like Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj, when he had to face a demon which was sent by Durvasa Muni, right? Ambarish Maharaj, with a folded hands, he actually welcomed that demon to actually devour him. He didn't actually retaliate. Ambarish Maharaj felt like, if Krishna, if this is what you feel I deserve, let it so happen in that way. If you want I to be killed by this demon, let the demon come and kill me. I'm fine with it. Right. So Ambarish Maharaj was open and okay for all of Krishna's plan. And we know what happened, that Sudarshana actually came and protected Ambarish Maharaj and chased away Durvasa Muni, killed that demon. And then finally, after understanding the glories of a devotee, Durvasa Muni actually fell at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj and begged forgiveness for whatever he has done. Right? But a devotee doesn't actually retaliate. He is fine. He is fine with anything that Krishna actually gives. Whether it is good or bad, I am still fine, Krishna. Right? That's the prayer that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually has in the sixth Ashtakam last verse, saying that whether you embrace me or make me broken-hearted, you are my Lord unconditionally. Unconditionally, you are my Lord, without any conditions. Right? So that's the reason many people actually uh, sometimes they don't take up or they're not able to continue Krishna consciousness. Many people come, they take up Krishna consciousness, but something really bad happens in their life, and they start questioning, saying that, why did you do this to me, Krishna? How can you actually? I'm trying to be a devotee. I'm chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I'm practicing Krishna consciousness, but why did you do this to me? That's how many people come and ask. And if their faith is very tender, if they have not understood Krishna consciousness very nicely, then they may even leave Krishna consciousness temporarily and go. Of course, nobody can leave Krishna consciousness permanently. At some point of time, some life or the other, everybody needs to come here, because this is the only way. There is no other way, right? Because the jiva's nature is to actually be a servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarupohoi Nityera Krishnadas. Everybody are servants of Krishna. Everybody are devotees of Krishna. Just that somehow some people have realized and awakened. Some people are still sleeping in the lap of Maya, and they have not awakened. So King Prachin Ibarhi, all the while he was actually sleeping under the lap of Maya, and he was living in a dream world. Right? Prabhupada says, in a dream, we all may think, saying that I am such and such, I am a king, and so many people are serving me. I have this capability, that powers, I have this property, whatsoever. We may think ourselves as very great, or we may have a scary situation or whatever, but that's not real. When a person wakes up, then he sees that whatever I experienced, that is actually not true. Right? So in the same way, today we are experiencing so many things in life, and we think that is reality. We think, saying that I am an Indian, I am a male, I am a female, I am son of such and such, this is my family. So we all are thinking like that, and Prabhupada calls that as something like a dream. In reality, we are all spirit souls. And when we awaken spiritually, then we understand, saying that all of them are spirit souls. It's just temporarily, for time being, by the arrangement of Lord and material nature, few people have come together and we are staying together. But in reality, we are all spirit souls. We are all devotees of Krishna. Some of them realized it, some of them are not yet. Right? So in whichever ashram we may belong to, whether it is brahmachari ashram or grahastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, wherever ashram we are, in that ashram, whoever is there, we help each other, we support each other, and we cooperatively make sure saying that all of us make progress in Krishna consciousness. That's the effort that we are putting in. We are keeping Krishna in the center in our ashrama, and we are trying to practice Krishna consciousness so that everyone actually becomes spiritually more advanced than they were before. So Prachini Bhahi, after hearing all these things and how he was rotting in a Grihamanda Kupam, in a deep dark well, he realized his mistake, and he got the instruction to practice Krishna consciousness from Narada Muni with a very thankful heart. With he was he was enlightened now, and in that enlightened heart, when Narada Muni gave him an invitation to come after hearing the whole subject matter, Prachini Bhahi didn't want to waste even a single moment. Right, his sons have actually gone for practice of tapasya, for in for me for increasing the progeny. For that, they have gone for a good cause, and they have been personally guided by Lord Shiva. And they were practicing austerity under the waters, and they have not yet returned. But King Prachini, but he actually felt saying that he cannot wait for them. I don't have time. I am losing my time. Anyway, my sons will come back and they will take care of the kingdom and take care of the citizens, but I need to leave now. He was so determined that he has to go. It is time for him, right? So that is something called as a transformation of heart after hearing. So after hearing from a spiritual master, like in here in this case, Narada Muni instructed Prachini Barhi. So after hearing that instruction, there should be a transformation. If transformation doesn't happen, then it actually has very minimal effect. And that transformation will happen when the listener or the devotee is actually determined. Like in this case, even when we take Dhruva Maharaj's incident, Dhruva Maharaj was so determined that even Narada Muni, when he came initially, he said, "You are just a 5-year-old boy. Just forget whatever your stepmother had told and go back and play." But he was not ready to actually accept it. He said, Narada Muni is saying that, "Look, if you have something to tell me, to guide me to Lord Narayana, speak something about that and get lost. If you don't want to say anything, then don't disturb me." Kind of. He was so determined, Dhruva Maharaj. And that's why he got the real fruit. He got the real fruit that in his very life, in 6 months' time, he was able to see the Lord face to face. Determination is something very important for transformation. If determination is not there in a devotee, then transformation also will not happen. Right? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, Krishna talks about determination in 3 modes. He talks about that topic very beautifully. He talks in 18.26. Krishna actually says that the qualities of people in mode of goodness, right? And how determination is actually influenced by these 3 modes. Krishna talks about that. He says, Mukta Sango Anaham Vadi Triti Utsaha Samanvita Siddhi Asiddhyor Nirvikara Karta Satvika Uchate. So he says, Krishna here that says Mukta Sango, people who can actually free themselves from the influence of material association, liberation from material association, right? Without any false ego, anaham vadi, Krishna says, right? Without any kind of false ego, with proper, clear understanding, saying that I am a spirit soul. I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I'm a servant of Krishna, right? Simply knowing, saying that I'm a spirit soul, that is also not sufficient, because even a jnani is of the understanding saying I'm a spirit soul. But a bhakta is of even higher understanding saying that I am a servant of Krishna, and my eternal occupation is to actually serve Krishna as a servant. That's how a devotee is much different from a jnani. Right? A jnani may actually not have that clear understanding that I am a servant of Krishna. Right? So then Krishna Utsaha, uh, he talks about that. Dhriti actually means determination. Utsaha means enthusiasm. Right? This a person is in a mode of goodness. He works with great determination and enthusiasm in both the cases, siddhi and asiddhi, whether it is success or failure, without any deterioration in his mind. He actually works with determination. That is the quality of a person in Sattvaguna, right? A person in Sattvaguna means he actually works with determination. And then what kind of determination he is, then Krishna says in the 33rd verse in the same chapter, he says that without getting influence of mana, prana, indriya, kriya, yoga, avyabhicharena. Krishna says avyabhicharena. Avyabhicharena means without getting any deviation, from mana, mind, then from his own life that is being presented to him in this material world, from senses, and he never becomes uh, deviated in his activities by those things. That is the determination in mode of goodness, Krishna says. So in mode of goodness, a person doesn't become deviated because of the thoughts of mind, by presentations of the senses, by what the life actually has to present to him. So he doesn't get deviated, right? These are all actually are deviations from the path. And any deviations, even a small deviation, can actually make it very big when you go for a long distance, they say, right? Even a 1 degree deviation, it actually makes for a, when you go for 1 degree deviation for 1,000 kilometers, it actually completely takes us to a different place altogether. So even a small deviation is actually very costly. So this mind, senses, they are there always to actually deviate a person. And a person who is not determined in Sattvaguna, such a person can very easily become influenced by the thoughts of the mind, by the presentations of the senses and life. They get very easily deviated from their practice, right? It is when Krishna actually compares the determination in the three modes, the mode of ignorance determination is something very important. Krishna actually says that in the mode of ignorance, a person's determination is only on the level of swapna or dream, right? Oftentimes, we also dream or think saying that we are a good devotee. We dream as if like on the bed we are attending Mangalarati or chanting along with devotees, right? We get a dream of us attending Mangalarati, but actually we are not, right? So most of the cases we are dreaming as if like we are engaged in devotional service, but actually we are not. Still, that is better, dreaming about devotional service, dreaming about Krishna, dreaming about service of the Lord. That's better. But more important is that we need to also engage our body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord also. Right? We have to practically do devotional service. That's what real devotional service means. Real devotional service is not a very what we call passive feeling. Devotional service is active engagement. That's what real devotional service means. If it had been a passive feeling, Prabhupada could have stayed in Vrindavan and he could have spent his time very nicely feeling for Radha and Krishna. And Prabhupada was actually in that mood. But Prabhupada's life was full of active engagement, where he left Vrindavan for some particular mission to fulfill his spiritual master's order. He went to the United States and took all kinds of hardships and started this whole movement, all for the pleasure of his spiritual master. So Prabhupada actually demonstrated about how we need to actively engage in devotional service, not passively simply feel for things, right? So that's why Krishna consciousness is all about active engagement. It is all about service, right? A mother, if she thinks saying that I love my son, but if she doesn't actually engage herself, sacrificing her time and energy in the service of the son or daughter, then that is not really love. A love means there involves sacrifice, there involves service, right? So all these things actually really show love. So our devotional service, it should be in a way that not in a way of dreaming, right? But in a way of engagement, really, in the service of the Lord. So real determination is to really put things in action. As soon as we hear some good instruction that is coming our way, we put that in action immediately. Right? If we don't put it, then it means that we are not that determined. Our determination is not in the mode of goodness. Because in mode of goodness, the determination will last long. It will not get what you call easily deviated by the presentations of material nature. It will not get, a person will not get deviated. But on a contrary, a person in the mode of ignorance, he will think when he hears a wonderful lecture from wonderful devotee, he will take a lot of inspiration from it, but he may not be able to put that in practice. That's what is Krishna says here, that their life is all in swapna, in dream. They cannot put things in practice. They cannot actually show in active engagement. They only actually dream. Krishna says that, right? So determination in mode of ignorance will not actually help us in Krishna consciousness. We should move it to determination in mode of goodness, where without any kind of deviations from the mind and senses and life, we actually engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. That is something is necessary for all of us, right? So Krishna says in 35, he says that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion. Such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in mode of darkness, he says. So it doesn't go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness. Like even some, I have seen many devotees, they keep lamenting that, oh, I couldn't actually engage myself in this service. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do this. So that lamentation without any corrective actions, that's again in the mode of ignorance, Krishna says. Moroseness, right? So if we feel we are not doing sufficiently, not engaging ourselves in Krishna consciousness to our capacity, then we should make some change in our life. We should bring about a change. That is real determination. If we are unable to bring some change in our life, unable to engage ourselves in the devotional service, then that so-called vairagya or determination is very flimsy, or what do you call, like not solid. Just like in when somebody dies in the families, a person will have a talk saying that Ram Naam Satya hai, right? They say Ram Naam Satya hai, baki sab prath hai. So, vyarth hai. So, they say that nothing else is actually real, only the names of the Supreme Lord, that is real. But that as soon as they come back from the crematorium, they forget all that. So that is called as Samshana Vairagya, the Vairagya that actually comes momentarily in the cremation. So just like as soon as you hear some wonderful lectures from a nice devotee, you take a lot of inspiration, but you get out of the temple, get out of the center, immediately you forget everything, back to square one. That kind of determination is mode of ignorance, Krishna says. Somebody is not able to take inspiration and put things in practice and bring about a change in his life. But King Prachini Bhari did not hear from Narada Muni in that fashion. As soon as he heard it from Narada Muni, he immediately took corrective actions in his life. Though I have wasted my life so long uselessly without engaging in devotional service of the Lord, now I don't want to waste it. Now I want to actually take it up seriously, right? And he immediately took a corrective action. He didn't even wait for his sons to actually come back. He felt he didn't have that time to wait. And immediately he has to start his services for the Lord. So he gave up his kingdom. He gave up his kingdom. He appointed representatives until his sons come back. And once they come back, he gave them instructions on how to actually rule the kingdom, and he left. He left and went forward to pursue his Krishna consciousness. So he felt it is time for him. Even the Pandavas, as soon as they heard saying that Krishna departed, they gave up the kingdom to Parikshit Maharaj and they left immediately. Right? So we should also take inspiration from it that one day or the other we should put a complete full stop to this material engagements and engage ourselves in full Krishna conscious activity. So this cannot go long. Material engagement without, it's like Bhagavatam says, it's chewing the same old chewed thing. How long can we keep chewing the sugarcane fibers? Initially, we may get the rasa, the taste, but after chewing it for quite some time, we don't get any taste out of it. Nothing comes out, no juice comes out of it after that. It's only a fiber. So how long can we keep chewing the same old chewed one? That's what Bhagavatam says. One day or the other, you should give it up and come back. Why not that one day be in this life now? That's something Bhagavatam actually asks us. Narada Muni gave the same question to Prachini, but he immediately took an action for it. So we all need to take that action, right? We need to take that action. Even if it is not physically, at least we have to prepare ourselves now that one day I will put a full stop to all these things and engage myself in devotional service fully, right? And we should plan ourselves for that also. That is real determination. Determination means to put things in action, put things in plan. If you are not determined, then we cannot go further in anything. Neither in material, even in material things, we need determination. Forget about Krishna consciousness, right? So if we really want to advance in Krishna consciousness, we should have that determination. Two, willingness to actually advance, willingness to actually move forward in Krishna consciousness. So that is something very important, right? So we'll spend some time trying to understand and analyze our own life. Uh, I was just thinking about my own life, why I am not able to take Krishna consciousness so seriously. So I was just thinking about it and made some work on myself, where all I actually lack and where all I need to help myself. So in the same way, you can do your exercise because nobody else will come and do it for you, right? We all of us are individual. Maybe we can have your family members or some good devotee friends. They can come and help, but the work has to be done by us. So in the same way, when I try to put together things, what all could actually put myself down, put my determination, which is putting my determination down, why I am not able to take Krishna consciousness with determination. So when I think about that, I felt few things are quite relevant for me, and maybe it may help other devotees also. So in that thought, I actually tried to put some points out of that. So let me just try to go over that. So first thing that came my in my thought was why I couldn't practice Krishna consciousness with determination is something which this point is always been ringing in my mind, and the thought of this is going on in my mind always. So one thing is about the 10th offense against the holy name of the Lord, which is something which or we don't pay a very great attention to that. It reads, do not have faith, complete faith in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Right? So even after understanding so many instructions, even after hearing so many Bhagavatam lectures, Bhagavad Gita lectures, still not taking this instruction so seriously, putting it in practice, continuing to maintain material attachments, not having complete faith in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. This is what is 10th offense. That's something I felt very, very serious about it. Of all the offenses, the 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord, this is something very naturally that actually we commit, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Right? We are supposed to take the Yuga Dharma chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as the most important thing in our Krishna conscious life. Because that is the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually had recommended us, saying that this chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the only dharma, only thing that we can do and we should do. That's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented it. Right? So, not having complete faith in chanting, which means we have invested our faith elsewhere. Either it could be material opulences, material wealth, money, or family members, or uh, police, or government, or doctors, thinking that they can actually save me, not the holy name of the Lord. Right? That lack of faith. Shraddha kare vishwasa koi shuddhida nischaya Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. So what is real Shraddha means to have complete faith that Krishna consciousness will actually lead me to the highest pinnacle of the life, spiritual life. Not having that faith. Having that faith, that is Shraddha. Not having that faith, that's what actually puts us to engage in so many material activities, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So, first, why we are not able to understand after hearing all these things, we are not able to put that in practice because we don't have faith in the holy name of the Lord. Second, we are still maintaining material attachments, right? So, this is something that we need to work upon. We all of us need to work upon, saying that this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only hope for me. There is no other hope apart from this. Right? When we read the songs of Narottam Das Tagore, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we can take so much of inspiration from it to put things in practice, to develop our faith in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Right? So in Sikshashtakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that yes, Krishna has invested all his potencies in these holy names. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is lamenting, saying that still I am not taking it very seriously. Right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us here, saying that we are not taking it seriously, though we have heard saying that holy name Krishna has invested all his potencies in the holy name of the Lord. And there is no hard and fast rules to chant the holy name of the Lord. Right? It's a problem with us. This is an internal problem, right? Not having complete faith in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, maintaining material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting, not just chanting, even any seva that we do, any devotional service that we do, if we do it inattentively, then it will not give the real fruit for us. Not being conscious while we are engaging in Krishna consciousness. Being conscious in Krishna consciousness is something very important. Even while engaging in any service, we should do it in the right mood. If we don't do it in the right mood, we'll not get the right result, because Krishna absorbs the mood of the devotee. He doesn't actually absorb the activity, he absorbs the mood. Just like you might have heard that in Melkote, near the Chelavanarayana Swami temple, there are not very far from it, walkable from that place, you will find two ponds. One pond is whose water is sweet, another pond whose water is very salty. Right? It is said that two sisters actually had dug that pond. One sister actually dug that pond with great devotion, and because she did it with great devotion, that water turned out to be very sweet water, which they use it for Lord's service. But the other sister did not dig it with proper consciousness. So that's why that water is salty, and nobody uses that water for anything, right? So consciousness in which we do the seva, our devotional services, even small things that we do, that's actually plays a big role. It's very important we practice Krishna consciousness consciously, right? So it is something that we need to work upon on ourselves. Casual efforts will not give fruits, for sure, right? While doing things casually, we may actually not take things very seriously. We take things for granted. We take the time that a devotee gives for granted, right? We don't take that very seriously. So such kind of efforts will not give fruit. It will take a long time, right? Even Mahatma Prabhu gave an example of boiling a huge, big vessel of water, burning it with a small flame, right? It may take days and maybe so much of time for that to boil, right? Only if the water actually boils, then you can put rice in it or something in it to cook. Unless the water boils, you cannot cook. So putting things in a mild flame, slim flame will not actually work. We have to increase the flame. We have to practice Krishna consciousness more seriously, right? So then I was just thinking about other point, why we are not determined in our Krishna consciousness, because we are not taking responsibility in Krishna consciousness for our own life and even Guru's mission. Not taking responsibility. Responsibility is something very important. Even Prabhupada, there's a quote of Prabhupada saying that you advance in Krishna, if you want to advance in Krishna consciousness, then take responsibility, Prabhupada says. We should not run away from responsibility. We should take responsibility of our own Krishna consciousness, then our own the Krishna consciousness of some people who are around us, and we should also take responsibility in our Guru's mission. Right? That is a sign of someone being a good disciple. Means they are helping in their spiritual master's missionary activity, which is nothing but Srila Prabhupada's missionary activity, which is nothing but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's missionary activity. Right? Yare deke tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. Wherever we go, wherever we are, we preach and glorify Krishna. We chant his instruction, glorify his names, glorify his teachings, and spread that teaching so that everybody take benefit out of it. That is something, a responsibility that every devotee actually has, every disciple has for his spiritual master, and we should take part in it. We should take some small responsibilities in that. So when we take those responsibilities, then we may not put take Krishna consciousness very casually. Everything that we come across, we try to see how we can use that in Krishna's service, how we can use that in my spiritual master's missionary activity. That becomes real Yukta Vairagya, right? We talk so much about Yukta Vairagya, but we don't understand the real meaning of Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means first thing is Anasaktasya Vishayan. Rupa Goswami says, Anasakta Vishaya, not having any kind of attachment for material things. It starts with that. Anasakta Savishya Yatharam Upayunjata. Seeing everything which is suitable to be engaged in devotional service, using that because it is suitable for engaging in devotional service. We are making use of it as it is available. Make use of it. Nirbande, without any bondage, not thinking that if that facility is not there, I cannot practice Krishna consciousness. No, not with that thinking. Whether we have facility or don't have facility, still engage in devotional service. Krishna Sambandhe, seeing everything in connection with Krishna. That is Krishna Sambandhe, right? Everything has a connection with Krishna, and we have to use things which has connection with Krishna. We have to use that in Krishna's service. That is Krishna Sambandhe. That becomes Yukta Vairagya. So real Yukta Vairagya is to actually engage everything in the service of Krishna, knowing very well the how we can use that without being attached to it. That is Yukta Vairagya, right? So when we can we can do real Yukta Vairagya when we don't have attachment for it, don't have a bondage for it, see everything with Krishna Sambandha, and then engage it suitably in the service of the Lord. That becomes Yukta Vairagya actually, right? So casual efforts will not actually help in our Krishna consciousness. We need to become serious, or I need to become serious in it. Reluctance to change, to learn from mistakes, offenses, running away, that will not help, right? Krishna consciousness is all about accepting a change. We were leading a different kind of life when we were before Krishna conscious. Now after Krishna consciousness, we are accepting change. If we don't do a change now, we cannot expect a different result in our life. So if we want a different result than what we got previously, then we have to accept a change. And change is something which is constant. We always need to actually keep changing. We cannot remain static at all. Krishna consciousness is all about accepting change, learning from our mistakes, learning from our offenses, right? We should not run away from thinking that if I engage in this, I may commit offense. That's not a real and good attitude, right? Good attitude could be like, even let me engage, even if I commit offenses, let me learn from it. Let me not commit that offense again. Let me ask for forgiveness. 10 times, 20 times, I may do some aparadha, but let me learn from it. Not running away from fear of offense. That's not a real good thing. That will not actually help, right? If we really want to actually advance, then we have to keep our foot, put our foot inside, let it get dirty. Then we will take it out, clean the foot later. But unless we get dirty, it is very difficult to actually clean our heart. Let me put our foot inside and let me try, kind of. Right? So reluctance to change, reluctance to learn things will not help. We have to constantly learn. Krishna consciousness is all about learning. We are always a student in Krishna consciousness. And there is no end to learn. There is always something to learn here. Right? We should never live in our past. In the past, we may have done things in some way. Right? In the past, we may have got habituated to do things in some way. We cannot live in the same comfortable zones of doing things in the same way even after coming to Krishna consciousness. After coming to Krishna consciousness, we should actually accept to do what is correct to be done. What is correct to be done, that we need to accept it. Right? It is said that old habits die hard. But if we don't give up that old habits, we are going to die and take birth in this material world again. Right? So the question will be like, am I prepared to live in this material life again, or am I desiring to go back to Godhead or become a devotee of Krishna? So what do we desire? If we desire for going, becoming a Krishna's devotee, going back home, back to Godhead, then we should actually, we cannot go on continuing the same old thing that we have been doing in a comfort zone. That is not going to help us for sure. So if at all we want to become devotees, the first thing that we need to do is we have to accept change. We have to embrace change. And change is not liked by mind. Mind is always very reluctant to change. It doesn't actually like. It wants everything to be in this same specific order. But Krishna says a devotee is happy in any situation. Right? If you are getting disturbed because of some change, that's because of the mind. And Krishna says a devotee is comfortable in any situation, whether it is new situation or old situation, he's happy with it. So we need to change ourselves. We don't try to change the outside situation. We need to change ourselves there, so that we don't get stuck up here in this material world. We put ourselves in a difficult situation, and I know even some brahmacharis, they do practice this, that they don't even sleep in the same place every night, just so that they don't feel comfortable in one place, right? Otherwise the mind actually gets tuned to do the same old thing, and if some change is presented, they become so disturbed, right? They become so disturbed. That's why it is said, saying that people who support my uh, sense gratification, they are friends, and those who don't, they are enemies. Why? Because those who are actually aligning themselves to me, they are very good for me. But those who are coming and disturbing my situation, they are not good for me. Right? In Krishna consciousness, if we really want to be Krishna conscious, then we have to break all these thoughts of the mind. We should be ready to accept anything which comes in the way and accept that as Krishna's mercy. That is real Krishna consciousness, not that we expect things to actually happen in this way. And if it doesn't happen that way, we cannot make progress. No. Right? So living in a comfortable zone, comfortable place, and then trying to practice Krishna consciousness without accepting change in life, that will not help us for sure. Then offenses against Vaishnavas, offenses against holy name, deity service, these are going to slacken our determination in Krishna consciousness. So as much as possible, we need to avoid that. So that's something I felt which is very important. Then other things are quite external. Having continuing non-devotee association, which is definitely going to disturb our determination in Krishna consciousness. Non-devotee association, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says, Asatsanga Tyaga hi Vaishnava. Vaishnava means they don't want to intimately relate with non-devotees, right? As long as we are living in material world, we have to interact with other people. But intimate association with non-devotees is not going to help us in Krishna consciousness for sure, right? We have to give it up and accept devotee association, devotee friends. That's the only way for us. right? The next one is to allow getting distracted, allowing external influences in our life, right? Material nature today, at least, we can see that people are getting into your life and they wanted to know your life. They are getting in through you, Google, Facebook, Twitter, everything. People actually wants to know about you. There is a complete data science, they call it. People actually collect all the data of yours and they actually analyze and present things which actually you are looking for in front of you. Focused advertisement, that's what they are doing today, right? So allowing yourself to get distracted by these things, they present things which will attract you, and if you get attracted to that, then you are losing your determination in Krishna consciousness. That's how they present it, right? You open the uh, Facebook account or YouTube account, then you will see the videos that you would actually prefer in it, because people are looking at you, people are watching at you without even our knowledge. They are actually watching at us, and they are doing a complete analysis of what will actually keep you engaged, what will actually of is of your like, and then they go and present it to us. They do it so nicely so that you cannot actually avoid it. But if you get inside that, we cannot practice Krishna consciousness for sure. There are quite a few devotees who actually came and said, saying that somehow during this lockdown time, I started watching YouTube videos more, Facebook more, this more, that more. I got so much so that I started getting addicted to that, right? So they start actually coming and complaining about something like that they are unable to do some many things, right? There is no other solution apart from keeping that aside, right? It's all about habit. If we could somehow actually keep things aside for 1 week and do things what we need to actually do, then we can very easily actually come out of that bad practice, bad habit, right? So it's something like, suppose somebody is addicted to watching YouTube videos. So all they need to actually do is for 1 week keep your internet off, and then you start doing your chanting nicely, start spending time in reading proper books, hearing proper lectures. So you spend your time which we were uselessly wasting in other things, spend it in proper thing. Then when we do it that way, it is very easy to actually come out of that old habit, because you are already replacing that with good habits. That's the only way to actually root out some old bad habits and put it outside. And because if we don't do this consciously, we are not going to advance in Krishna consciousness for sure, right? It is sometimes more about curiosity for material information. We become so curious to actually know what is happening there, though it is actually not relevant to us. It is not going to help us in any way. That curiosity to actually hear about that masala, that is actually forcing us to do all these things. So we need to actually put priority in our life, saying why we need to do all these things, why we need to actually know so much about this happenings of this material world, that which is not really useful for me at all. Like what is happening in some other part of the world, it is not going to by knowing that, it is not going to help me. I'm not saying don't be aware, I'm saying that putting our mind in that is something, is turning out to be costly for us for sure, right? And our acharyas say that we are knowingly drinking poison, right? Hari Hari Bifale Janamai Ganainu Radha Krishna Nabajiya Janiya Shunya Vishakhaino, Narottam Das Thakur sings. Knowingly we are drinking poison, knowingly we are putting so many garbage in us, and not getting time for Krishna consciousness later, right? So we need to put what is necessary for us. So sometimes devotees get stuck saying that they know this is not good for me and still continuing that, unable to give that up. That's the struggle many devotees are actually facing. So for that, at least 1 week, if they actually root themselves out of that and put it somewhere else in a constructive thing, then they will be able to come out of it. For 1 week, 10 days, consciously we put down that and take something which is useful. That is going to help us. Simply justifying and giving excuses, saying that, oh, I cannot do this, I cannot come out of this, I am habituated to this, that will not actually help. Justification, excuses, it is not going to help, because we cannot give excuses when Yamaraj comes in front of us. For sure. When he comes in front of us, we cannot give excuses. Right? So let's consciously work on ourselves to change the situation. If we don't change, nobody is going to change. If we want to bring some change, we have to become that change. Right? So those are some things that we need to work upon. And the positive side of things that we need to work upon is engaging ourselves in Krishna conscious related things with more enthusiasm and eagerness. Right? That enthusiasm and eagerness will actually take us more deeper in our Krishna consciousness. When some service is presented to us, we should actually go and grab that. There should be a fight for doing devotional service. Then management will actually need to say that, oh, okay, this devotee did not get opportunity last time, let him get it. But there should be a fight for devotional service, fight to grab service. That is actually a good sign, healthy sign. Not that the management has to go search for somebody who is willing to do service. When opportunity comes saying that this service is available, there should be 100 people to grab it. And then somebody will come and moderate that. So that is actually a good sign, healthy community kind of. So we should all become more eager to do devotional service more and more. Right? We should all try to serve and not expecting to be served. To be served, that is material mentality. You are expecting service, others' service to us for my enjoyment. That is material mentality, to be served. But instead, we should cultivate to serve. That is something we want, we need, in fact. And that can really happen by regular attentive hearing of Srila Prabhupada's lectures and his reading his books. Attentive Shravanam is going to help us in this. That's the only one which will actually help. The next one which could help us is to be conscious in what little service that we are doing. Consciously do practice Krishna consciousness, right? Become more sensitive in our dealings with the devotees, right? We should not just think how it will be help, how I will do service, but how this service is going to influence the other devotees, how they will actually take it, how they will actually respond to this. So becoming sensitive in Krishna consciousness. Chanting along with other devotees will help in our chanting, our japa. Ekaki amara nahi paya bala harinama sankirtane. Our acharyas say, ekaki amara nahi paya bala. I don't have strength to chant the holy name of the Lord alone. Tumi kripa kori shraddha biddu diha deo Krishna namadane. So you please give me one drop of mercy so that I will be able to take up this Krishna consciousness more seriously. That's what our acharyas pray for. So chanting along with devotees, that actually helps us a lot, right? So then the most important thing here is to not to compromise the regulative principles, because Krishna himself says that Yesham tva antagata papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrta. The more we commit sinful activities, the lesser will we have determination in Krishna consciousness. So we should take up the regulative principles of what is given in the scriptures more seriously and practice them so that we can advance in Krishna consciousness nicely. The last thought that I felt was to go and serve pure devotees of the Lord who are engaging themselves with full determination. When we go and serve them, then we get their quality in us, right? So if we want to become determined in Krishna consciousness, we should stay with devotees who are determined. Then we get that quality from them. So we should make sure that the company where we are, the devotees are very determined. They are eager to serve. When that association is there, that will actually it is like a contagious disease. It will come to us also for sure, right? So we could see that how King Prachini was able to save himself after hearing Narada Muni's instruction, and he was able to help himself in Krishna consciousness. So we can take inspiration from it, from this whole incident of story of King Puranjana, and we can help ourselves in advancing in Krishna consciousness for our own life. Right. So these are some thoughts that I thought we can share and discuss upon it. So thank you for giving the opportunity to speak something on Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, if anybody wants to add anything, any other thoughts, any comments, anybody would like to share, you're open. We can open it now. Okay, if nothing else, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sudhir Gopal Prabhu, you want to take over?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It was a really very introspective session. You encouraged us to pause and reflect and contemplate. Where are we with respect to what we have been doing, our path and our pace? And you have very beautifully shown, like just to show with example, how ourselves, need to really think about, and really like the point, like the most basics, right? The fundamental concept. Like we always hear, yes, even after hearing so many instructions on this, like glories of the holy name and association of the devotees and the scriptures, still we commit the offenses, we commit the sinful activities, we seem to be never come out of it. But then you gave also a lot of hope that yes, it is possible. Once we are there in that inspiring association, once you're following the instructions of the spiritual master, and once you take something for the pleasure of the spiritual master. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for enlightening us. It was really wonderful, and it's always a pleasure to hear from you that because you have so much of conviction, so much of faith, what you're sharing. It comes from so much of realization of your decades of practicing Krishna consciousness. So we're very thankful to you for spending some time with us and sharing your realization, so that we can really also follow the same. Thank you very much. So let's pray at the Lotus feet of Sri Gandarika Giridhari Mahaprabhu, so that Bandhu Prabhu continue to shower his choices, blessings upon us through his association and through his words. Let's chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Thank you very much. Um, not received much of announcement, but I think there is only one big announcement is there. So I am sure some of you might have already heard about it. That every year we do go for a yatra, because that's another opportunity for us to come together and to release the association of the devotees without thinking about anything else, without bothering anything else, just completely absorbed 24 hours in hearing, chanting, and remembering the holy name of the Lord. And keeping that in mind, once a while we go to the yatra, and we are planning for our yatra, for the annual yatra of 22 to Sri Dham, Sri Khetra Puri, Sri Jagannath Dham Puri. That's planned from is it 24th to 29th. So it's a 25th to 29th. That's a Monday to Friday. It's a weekdays. So yes, there is no need to talk about the glories of Puri. Definitely, we have been hearing, and only one statement we can say that, like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, he chose to spend rest of the time there in Puri. So it's not only a Jagannath Dham Puri, but also for us it is so special because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there and really released all the movement. So definitely we'll be visiting the places and hearing the pastimes and really go deep into the mood of Mahaprabhu and the devotees. And also it's very important this year as well, because like devotees have been celebrating, I guess, 150th year of appearance of Bhaktisanga Saraswati Thakur. This is the place. Even recently our president had gone to inaugurate, to celebrate the festival. So it's our Paramparam Guru's birthplace. So many beautiful places, and there are so much glories to Sri Khetra Puri, and we can release that in the association of the devotees with Anand Bajar's Prasad, Mahaprasad. So yes, I would request all the devotees to please come forward and register as soon as possible. If you have not received the details, please contact your Bhakti Vriksha leaders or our Brahmacharis devotees. They can really help you. But we need to confirm the registration as early as possible, because we need to take care of the room booking and all the other logistics. So please take care of your travel arrangement on your own. But the rest of the things will be taken care by the devotees there. So the devotees have already said some of the trains that you can book to reach there. And yeah, if you have any questions, right, you can ask Achit Prabhu, Kartikeya Prabhu, and the devotees in the ashram. Okay, thank you very much. So I think that was it. I didn't hear anything else. Bandhu Madhav Prabhu or Yugal Kisa Prabhu or anybody else would like to share any other update before we proceed to Darshana Pranam. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much for joining. And yes, the most important festival is coming up. And that is a super most important festival for all the Gaudiyas, for all the devotees. There's a Gaur Purnima that is there on Friday, this Friday. So definitely we'll be sharing with you all the details. But we can continue to prepare our mood to receive the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So now we'll hand it over to our IBC devotees. Some base devotees are there to take care for the National Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Please, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. 1 minute. Is it audible, Prabhuji?
Okay, there is some echo, Prabhuji. If you can take care of that. You can switch off.
Volume down, Prabhu. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Narasimha Parato Narasimha Yato Yato Yami Tato Narasimha Bahir Narasimha Hridaye Narasimha Narasimha Madhim Sharanam Prapadye Avakara Kamaravare Nakam Adbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Karakamara Jaya Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj सर्व भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक श्री लक्ष्मीपति नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Can we end, Prabhuji, now?
Yes, Prabhuji.